you're probably hearing everyone talking about the Texas school shooting, and obviously something like that is terrible and should never happen. And we all should be praying for these people who are been involved in this. And I'm assuming everyone who's heard about this, they care and they want to do something about it. Other outside the politicians who claim they care, but they're mostly putting politics with this. And we all want to limit violence, not just gun violence, but like any kind of violence that's going on. Because a lot of this shooting, that's a very small type of violence going on. And let me ask you a question. The people saying we should do something, do you think you make your best decisions when you're emotional? Like, you don't think clearly when you're being emotional about things. You have to, like, think about it and assess what is the right thing to do. Because is this the best time to take people's most basic rights that are endowed in the Constitution that everybody deserves to be able to defend themselves because all life is important and precious. Should we be taking that right away? You can't just be regulating stuff like that. And like guns slash firearms, statistically, they save more lives, specifically millions of more lives each year in the US than they kill. 90% of mass shootings happen in gun free zones. So it isn't taking away the gun isn't going to fix anything. And if you look at all this happening in schools, no wonder this is happening when they are teaching kids not to listen to their parents and they can be whatever gender or sex or whatever they want, and making people emotional about things doesn't make people think clearly about stuff. And back in the 50s when people were more God-fearing, they actually asked a group of people if they would hurt another person to save themselves, and 65% said yes. So if you look at it now, more people would say yes, because like more people nowadays, they they don't they care about other people. They don't want to see other people get hurt. 19 children, 2 teachers killed in Texas elementary school shooting. So there was like 21 people that were shot in the shooting. The Texas Department of Public Safety said the shooter was wearing body armor and carried a rifle, but Olivart said on MSNBC they believe that the shooter wore a type of vest that tactical teams use. It's not clear if the shooter added ballistic protection to the vest. So the shooter was wearing body armor. Like he was prepared for this. Like he was ready to go in and start shooting people. The suspected shooter, who might have had a handgun and a rifle, was also killed when law enforcement confronted him at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, about 83 miles west of San Antonio, Governor Greg Abbott said at a news conference. It is believed that he abandoned his vehicle, then entered into the Robb Elementary School in Uvalde with a handgun, and he have also had a rifle, Abbott said. So this guy he was ready, he was like prepared for this. He was like he thought ahead, and he prepared himself to do something.
In February, you introduced the Assault Weapons Ban and Law Enforcement Protection Act of 2007. It would regulate semi-automatic assault weapons, including weapons that have pistol grips, a forward grip, and something called a barrel shroud. Weapons with a barrel shroud would be regulated. What's a barrel shroud, and why should we regulate it?
I think the more important thing is that it also would have had banned the large capacity clips that Colin Ferguson had used, and also the killer.
Okay. But I read the legislation. I'm sorry, I read the legislation and it said that it would regulate barrel shrouds. What's a barrel shroud, and why should we regulate that?
The guns that were chosen back in those days were basically the guns that most gangs and criminals were using to kill our police officers. I'm not saying it was the best bill, but that was the best bill
Do you
they
know
could
what a
get out
barrel
at that
shroud
particular
is?
time. I actually don't know what a barrel shroud.
Okay, because it's in your
a shoulder thing.
legislation.
So these people, they don't even like all these politicians, they don't even know anything about guns. All these people, all these politicians, all these Democrat politicians making all these laws, they have no idea what the hell a gun is. They can't even describe what the different stuff, like what they do on the guns. Like they have no idea what they're talking about. And it shows that all of this is leading up to dictatorship. All of this is exactly what the Nazis did. They regulated guns, and they didn't allow people that they didn't like to have guns. All of this, they're banning guns just because they look scary, and most of them are this. It's the same gun. It's just that it has extra accessories on it. It just shows how much these Democrats know about guns. Like they don't know anything about guns. They just want to take guns from all the people who are, the good citizens, people who aren't going to do anything insane. And this is how it ends up. Like, the people who are good people, they won't be able to get guns, but the criminals and the bad guys are going to be able to get the guns, and more of these mass shootings are going to happen.